It's Saturday, September 27th, and we have a very concerning situation unfolding out here in the tropics where Tropical Cyclone 9 has a likely chance of making a United States landfall anywhere from North Florida all the way up to the outer banks of North Carolina. This is soon to be Tropical Storm, then later Hurricane Imelda. But first, we're going to start with Major Hurricane Category 4 Umberto, which has been another storm in the Atlantic to rapidly intensify this year. It is expected to retain major hurricane status all the way up until Tuesday, where it could potentially bring some impacts to Bermuda, but it is not expected to directly impact the United States in any way. However, it could indirectly impact the United States by being a big factor in steering tropical storm and then soon Hurricane Imelda. This could potentially kind of steer it away from the US, but currently that is not looking like the most likely outcome. Then on satellite, this storm looks really beautiful. It looks like it's starting to go into an eye wall replacement cycle at the moment. But before this, it was a very, very strong Category 4 storm with another super symmetrical, really defined eye. But right now, it's going to undergo a eye wall replacement cycle where it could potentially come out the other side even stronger than before, maybe even making a run at strong Category 4 to weak Category 5 strength. But again, this is not going to directly impact the United States in any way. It's just a very beautiful storm to look at meteorologically. But moving to the big storm that's going to really be the cause for most of our concern right now. This is currently Tropical Cyclone 9, soon to be Tropical Storm, and then Hurricane Imelda. It kind of looks like it's going to take a straight shot up towards. Right now, it kind of has about the middle of the South Carolina coast in its bullseye mark, but this is likely to change. In fact, it is going to change. We are about 4 days away from potentially seeing a landfall, so this shouldn't be taken with a grain of salt. It definitely is something that we should really keep our eye on, but it's likely that the specific landfall point is going to change 100% in that time, but it looks like this storm has a very likely chance of turning into a hurricane. It's kind of delayed its development as it's been over the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and then Cuba, and then it's also entering a more heavily sheared region. That's why it's not going to super rapidly intensify as it goes through that really warm region of waters right into the Bahamas. And then we could potentially see it deepen down into currently what is expected to be maybe a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane as it reaches the United States. And this is a model run from the European model. This is right about where Tropical Cyclone 9, soon to be Hurricane Imelda or even Tropical Storm Imelda, is going to be right now. And it is just going to kind of take that track. And we're actually going to see something very unique. We saw on the National Hurricane Center's cone, it really became very uncertain after it passed around the Cape Canaveral area in Florida. That's when things start to become iffy. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. As we go up here, the storm really starts to condense and get defined. And then it kind of stalls in this model run right off the coast. The past couple of days, it has gone from getting sucked out by Hurricane Umberto to stalling along the coast and then kind of just steamrolling in. And then now it is kind of trending back towards that stalling on the coast, then maybe even getting sucked away by Hurricane Umberto as well. Another big steering factor for this is going to be this big trough or high pressure system kind of descending down from Canada. That's going to be the thing that sucks Hurricane Umberto out. And then it could also potentially push Hurricane Imelda away from the coast as well. But if this were to happen, where it kind of stalls on the coast of this could mean a lot of problems for other things, specifically rainfall. This would bring a seriously catastrophic flooding threat. But this isn't something that is guaranteed to happen. It is just an outcome that we do want to consider right now. But this is the current model tracks. It is 100% going to change over the next 4 days. Whether it will be a huge change where we're not really expecting there to be a landfall anymore, or just the track or landfall area kind of changes. We're not really super sure at the moment, but definitely you're going to want to stay extremely weather aware if you're anywhere really along the North Florida coast to Outer Banks region for this storm. But now we're going to take more of a deep dive on what's fueling this concern and maybe intensifying this storm into something really big. The first and foremost thing is going to be the extremely warm sea surface temperatures in front of this. This is not going to be an issue at all for letting tropical storm, then later Hurricane Imelda form. These are really primed, and these are some of the hottest sea surface temperatures we have seen all season in front of a storm. But on the wind shear front, it is not looking super great. There's going to be quite a bit of wind shear along the United States coast because of that big trough digging in. And then also right now, there's a lot of wind shear, which would just absolutely tear a storm apart. Also in front of it, where it is right about now, there's also some not super favorable wind shear. That's why we think the development could be delayed a little bit for a couple of days before it really starts to deepen down into a tropical storm and then hurricane. And then in contrast, out where Hurricane Umberto is, we see some favorable shear. So that kind of just paints a picture of how important shear is for development. And that's also why we're not really seeing some rapid development right now with Tropical Cyclone 9. And then for moisture, the models are predicting a picture where moisture really isn't going to be that much of a problem. Maybe we see a lot more dry air as it gets closer to the US from that big trough that's expected to push through, and that could maybe hinder it. But at least while this storm gets its act together before it even gets close to the United States, it looks like moisture is not going to be a problem. So all in all, a pretty favorable environment. The main thing is just going to be wind shear and whether it will kind of stay at bay or it will be really strong. That's going to be the main thing that's going to hinder that storm, if it is hindered at all. And then we're going to cap off this discussion on taking a peek at the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center today. We can see that this is actually going to be one of the calmest days that we have seen in a really long time, with just some general thunderstorm activity expected, and it's really not that high amount of coverage covering the United States. We only are going to see it on parts of the southeast, then all the way up into the mid-Atlantic, then also in the southwest and Four Corners states. I think the highest potential of seeing some strong storms is actually going to be in the Four Corners states and southwest, specifically in parts of New Mexico and Arizona. I do think we could see a couple of organized clusters, maybe even getting close to those severe characteristics. Now, is that super high a chance of that actually happening? No, but definitely want to be prepared for some strong thunderstorms if you're out there.